Have you ever spoken English and later felt like, why did that sound rude? Or someone replied you coldly and you didn't even know what you said wrong? The problem is not your grammar, it's politeness English. Native speakers don't just speak correct English, they speak soft English. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Learn English with Gifty. Today, I will teach you 20 polite English phrases that will instantly make you sound respectful, professional, and fluent. Stay to the end because the last phrases are the ones used in workplaces, emails, and professional settings. Now, imagine someone is blocking your way. Instead of saying, move or shift, no. Instead, you say, excuse me. Okay? For example, you can say, excuse me, could I pass? Or, excuse me, you dropped something. Now, how does that sound? Polite, right? Good. Now, repeat after me. Excuse me. One more time. Excuse me. Good job. Not move, not shift. Excuse me. That's correct. Let's say you're in a situation where someone is talking to you, especially in a professional setting, and you did not hear the person, or you did not get the last thing the person said. Instead of saying what or huh or eh, no, don't do that. That's wrong and borderline rude. So instead, you say pardon me or sorry. So, for example, you say, pardon me, could you please repeat that? Or, sorry, I didn't catch that. Now, let's practice together. Pardon me. One more time. Pardon me. Good. Not huh? Not what? Pardon me. That's correct. Good job. Now, in a situation where you want to order food or ask for something, you don't just go direct. For example, you don't say, I want water. No, that's too direct. Okay? So instead, you say, I would like some water, please. That's more subtle, it's softer, and it gives you a more polite approach. Okay? So other situations where you can use subtleness, you can say, I would like a cup of tea, please. Just follow the same pattern, follow the same rule. Okay? I would like some help. Now let's practice together. Say, I would like. I would like. Good job. If you want to ask someone for an item, don't just say, give me your pen. No, that's rude. You didn't buy the pen for the person. So it's rude to just tell the person, give me your pen. No, don't do that. Instead, you say, could I borrow your pen, please? Okay? Or you can say, could I borrow your book? Could I borrow your charger? And so on. Okay? So when you want to ask someone to give you an item, you politely say, could I? Could I borrow? Or could I? Okay? Now let's practice together. Say, could I? Could I? Could I borrow your pencil? Could I borrow your ruler? Could I borrow your phone? And could I? Good job. Look, I know this might be a bit dicey because it might not really sound rude to a lot of people, but it's actually rude. Now, when you want to make a request, it is rude to say things like, for example, you want to tell someone to open the window. Okay? It is rude to just say, open the window. No, don't do that. It might not sound rude to you, but it's actually quite rude. So you say, could you open the window, please? That's a more polite way of saying that. Okay? Or the other examples, you can say, could you close the door, please? Could you help me, please? That's more polite, okay? It helps you communicate your requests without coming off as rude or entitled, okay? Now, let's practice together. You say, could you help me? One more time, could you help me? Okay, good job. Now, a lot of people might debate this because they have the opinion that I need help. So I should just say I need help because I'm in distress. But even though you are in distress and you are in dire need of assistance, you should still be polite. So don't just say I need help. No, no, don't do that. Okay? Sometimes it might come off as entitled or, I won't say rude totally, but it might come off as entitled and somewhat rude. So instead, you say, could you please help me? Could you please help me? Now, the other examples of expressing how you feel and how you want to tell someone to render you assistance, you can say, could you please help me with this? Or could you please show me this? Or show me how to do this? This is a perfect way of asking for assistance without sounding entitled, rude, and all that. Okay? Now, let's practice together. Could you please say it one more time? Could you please? Good job. Imagine you work in customer care and you have a customer that is trying to get your attention. She has been signaling you, hello, 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 but you are attending to another customer, right? What will you do in that situation? You want to tell them to wait, right? Now, it will be rude to say, wait. No, 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 no. Don't do that. That's very rude. Instead, you say, just a moment, please, with a smile. You see? That's more polite. Okay? So don't say, wait. Say, just a moment, please. Okay? Now, the other examples you can say, just a moment, please, I'm coming. Or please give me a sec. Okay? Now, let's practice together. Say, just a moment, please, I'm coming. One more time. Just a moment, please, I'm coming. Good job. Also say, please hold on a sec. Please hold on a sec. Good job. Here is another thing that a lot of people say and they don't realize that it's rude. Okay? So, if you want someone's attention and you're trying to call them, okay, do not say, come here. No, that's very wrong. Okay, because it sounds like you're commanding them and it's really rude. Okay, so if you notice, if you've ever said come here to somebody and the person gives you this kind of disgusted look, yeah, this is the reason, because it's rude. Instead, you say, could you come here for a moment, please? This is more polite and respectful. Okay, when you tell someone this, the person will obviously answer you because it's polite. Okay, so here are some examples. You can say, could you come here for a moment, please? I need your help. Or you can say, could you come here for a moment, please? Any of them is fine. Okay, so you can just be polite as much as possible. So now let's practice together. Say, could you please come here for a moment? Good. One more time. Could you please come here for a moment? Good job. In a situation where you are confused, right? You don't just say, I don't understand. No, that sounds a bit rude. Even though you don't mean to be rude, but saying I don't understand, it can come off as rude. So instead, you say, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. When you say that, it softens the message and it communicates that, okay, you really do not understand, but you are doing it in a polite way. Okay? Here are other examples you can use. You can say, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand what you mean. Or you can say, if someone is asking you a question and you don't understand, you can say, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the question. Now, let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. One more time. I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. Good job. Sometimes you might need clarification. So you might want the person to repeat their explanation, and you cannot just say, explain again. No, that's too direct and it can sound rude. Okay? So instead, you say, could you please explain that again? Okay? This is more polite and respectful. Okay? So now there are other examples. You can say, could you please go over that again? Or could you please explain that again? That is another way to politely ask someone to explain again. Okay? Now, let's practice together. Could you please explain that again? Repeat. Good job. One more time. Say, could you please explain again? That's correct. Good job. If you're learning something new already, pause the video and comment, I will start speaking polite English. Back to our lesson. Let's say you have a different opinion. It would be rude to say you are wrong. That sounds really confrontational. And a lot of people don't like it. They assume that you're trying to embarrass them, or you're trying to humiliate them, or make them feel small, or you're trying to be rude to them. It can even piss a lot of people off. So instead, you say, I'm not sure I agree. Now that's a softer way to disagree. The listener knows that you don't agree with what he is saying or what he is doing, but you are polite about it, and there is a high chance he will listen to you. Now, some examples are, you can say, I see it differently, or I have a different perspective on this. Now, let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'm not sure I agree with that. One more time. I'm not sure I agree with that. Good job. When someone suggests something you don't think will work, instead of saying, that is a bad idea, that sounds really harsh, and nah, it's not a good way to say that. Instead, you can say, I'm not sure that would work. I mean, it sounds more professional and polite. Okay? Now, other examples can be, you can say, I'm not sure that would work in this case, or I'm not sure that would work for me. Okay? Now, let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'm not sure that would work. One more time. I'm not sure that would work. Good job. So, in the case where you understand the person, but you still disagree, I mean, I understand you, but I don't agree. Okay? So instead of saying, I disagree, nah, that's too direct, too harsh, and quite impolite. You say, I see your points, but okay. So this shows respect before disagreements. I mean, I have one rule. When I want to critique something, I first of all say the good thing about it before the bad. So just apply that rule to this. So instead of saying I disagree outright, you say, I see your points, but okay. So let me give you practical examples. You can say, I see your point, but I think we should try another way. Or, I see your point, but I have a different opinion. Okay? Now let's practice together. Repeat after me. Say, I see your point, but one more time. I see your point, but good job. Now, when you need someone to repeat what they said, okay, instead of saying repeat, no, you can say, could you say that again, please? That's more polite and more professional. Okay, so don't go out and say repeat. No, say, could you say that again, please? Okay, so yeah, some other examples. You can say, could you say that again, please? Or could you repeat that, please? Now let's practice. Say, could you repeat that, please? One more time. Could you repeat that, please? Good job. Sometimes a person is speaking English too fast and you're struggling to understand them. It's normal, especially with native speakers. So don't say speak slowly. No. If you say speak slowly, it sounds like you're commanding the person and you sound rude or entitled. So instead, you can say, could you speak a little more slowly, please? This sounds calm and polite. Now let's look at more examples. We can say, can you speak a little slowly, please? I'm still learning English. Or you can say, could you slow down a bit, please? Any one of them is fine. Okay? Now, let's practice together. Repeat after me. Could you speak a little more slowly, please? Good job. One more time. Could you speak a little more slowly, please? That's correct. Sometimes you forget to do something or forget information. That's normal. Every human being forgets. But if you say, I forgot, although is correct, but it sounds too direct in conversations. So instead, you can say, it slipped my mind. It sounds more natural and more polite. Okay? So here are more examples. You can say, I'm sorry, it slipped my mind, or it completely slipped my mind. Okay? Let's practice. Repeat after me. It slipped my mind. One more time. It slipped my mind. Good job. So, someone asks you a question and you don't know the answer. So, instead of saying, I don't know, it sounds very blunt and it just gives a tone of finality that you would not know. Instead, you can say, I'm not quite sure. I mean, it sounds softer and more polite, and it also gives an undertone that even though you don't know right now, but you can learn or you can find a way to make it work or happen. So this is better in professional setting. Instead of saying I don't know, you say I'm not quite sure. So here are some other examples. You can say I'm not quite sure about that, or I'm not quite sure what you mean. That sounds more polite, more reasonable, and more professional. Okay? Now, let's practice together. Repeat after me. Say, I'm not quite sure. One more time. I'm not quite sure. Good job. In professional settings, it's very easy for you to be rude or for you to sound impolite or unprofessional. Okay? Now, if you want someone to send you an email or a file or a document, instead of saying, send it to me, no. It sounds like a command when you say it like that, okay? And imagine you're talking to your boss and you say, send it to me. Bro, that's wrong. That sounds like a command. Instead, you can say, could you please send that to me? Now, this is more polite and a more professional way to ask someone to send you a file or a document or an email or whatever thing you want the person to send to you. Now, here are more examples. You can say, could you send that to me by my email? Or you can say, could you please send that to me later today? Gotten? Now, let's practice. Repeat after me. Say, could you please send that to me? One more time. Could you please send that to me? Good job. See, when you want to ask for someone's personal information, like the person's name or date of birth or something else, especially the name or their phone number, Don't say, tell me your name. That is too direct. Or give me your number. Oh my god, no, don't do that. It's too direct. And some people might perceive it as, you're creepy or you are weird. So instead, you can say, may I know your name, please? This sounds respectful and formal. Okay? One more time. May I know your name, please? So here are some more examples that you can learn from on how to ask someone about their personal information. You can say, may I know your name, please, like I said earlier, or you can say, may I know where you are from, please? You see, politeness. Now let's practice together. Repeat after me. Say, may I know your name, please? One more time. Say, may I know your name, please? Good job. Sometimes, right, you might need help from someone, especially in a professional setting. As much as possible, try to be polite. Do not say, help me. No, that sounds like a command. So, as much as possible, avoid saying, help me. Instead, you can say, I would really appreciate your help. Now, that sounds way more respectful, professional, and polite. So, this can fly in a professional setting, but not help me. Okay? Now, here are more examples that we can use. You can say, I would really appreciate your help with these stats. Or you can say, I would really appreciate it if you could assist me. Okay? Now, let's practice. Repeat after me. Say, I would really appreciate your help. One more time. I would really appreciate your help. Good job. Now you know how to speak polite English like native speakers. Tell me in the comments, which phrase will you start using today? Watch my next lesson where I will teach you 30 confusing English words, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends for more English lessons like this. Thanks for watching. Bye!